We are going to review what we know about area of rectangles and use that to find area of triangles. To find the area of the rectangle shown on the coordinate plane, there are several methods we could use. We know that area is the amount of space taken up by an object, so for this we could count each square unit inside of our rectangle to find the area, or we could use our area formula for rectangles, which is area equals base times height. If I were looking at this, I would know that the base is the distance from A to D, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 units, so the base measures 4 units, and the height of the rectangle would be the distance from C to D, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So if I were going to use the formula to find the area of the rectangle, I would do area equals base of 4 times height of 6, which would give me an area of 24 square units. Now, how can I use this to help me with triangles? Well, if I look at my rectangle, I know that I can actually divide every rectangle into two congruent triangles by drawing a diagonal line inside of my rectangle. This splits my rectangle into two triangles, one here and one here, that are congruent. I also know that these are specifically right triangles because I know that every corner of a rectangle is a right angle or a 90-degree angle. So that means that this triangle and this triangle both have a 90-degree angle, which makes both of them right triangles. Now, how can we use what we know about the area of the rectangle to find the area of each triangle? I know that the area of this whole thing is 24. But now I only want to find the area of part of it, or half of it, because I split this into two congruent parts. So I know that I can take what I did here with the area of the rectangle, and I can just divide it by 2. So if I'm finding the area of a triangle, it's the same as the area of a rectangle, which is base times height, but then it's divided by 2. Another way of writing this formula is area equals 1/2 times base times height. So if I were to find the area of this triangle, I would multiply my base of 4 times my height of 6, and then I could divide by 2. So I would do 4 times 6 divided by 2. 4 times 6 is 24, and then I would do 24 divided by 2, and I would get an area of 12 square units. So now we're going to use the formula area equals 1/2 base times height to find the area of some triangles. For this triangle, we notice that we have our right angle here. Whenever we're trying to find base and height of a triangle, both of those numbers can be found by looking for a right angle. So for this triangle, my base is going to be 24 and my height is going to be 7. So I'm going to plug this into my formula, 1/2 times 24 for my base times 7 for my height. If I multiply from left to right, and you can use your calculator, 1/2 times 24 is 12, and then 12 times 7 gives us 84. So the area of this triangle is 84 inches squared. For this triangle, you notice that there are a lot of numbers. If I need to find the base and the height of the triangle, I need to look for the right angle. So I see that my right angle is right here on my triangle. That means that the two measurements attached to it are going to be my base and my height. So 12 is going to be my base and 4 is going to be my height. So when I plug this into my formula, I have 1/2 times my base of 12 times my height of 4. 1/2 times 12 gives me 6, and then 6 times 4 gives me 24. So this has an area of 24, and you notice that none of my numbers have units of measure with them. So when that happens, I just use the word units to represent this. So it would be 24 units squared. For this triangle, I have a base of 6 and a height of 3. So to find area, I would do 1/2 times 6 times 3. 1/2 times 6 would give me 3. So then I would do 3 times 3, which would give me an area of 9 meters squared. For this triangle, I have a base of 28.7 and a height of 19.1. So I would multiply 1/2 times 28.7 times 19.1. When I multiply 1/2 times 28.7, I get 14.35. Then I have to multiply that by 19.1. When I multiply that by 19.1, I get an area of 274.085. And my units are meters, so it's meters squared. This problem says that Monique is putting new tile in her bathroom. The tile that she is using is triangular and has an area of 15 centimeters squared. If each tile has a base of 6 centimeters, what is the height of one tile? For this, I'm going to start by writing my formula for the area of triangles, which is area equals 1/2 base times height. In this case, I know that the area is 15, so I'm going to substitute 15 for area. Then I'm going to multiply 1/2 times my base, which I know is 6. And what I don't know is the height of my tile. So I'm going to use the variable h to represent height. Now I'm just going to solve this. So to solve, the first thing I need to do is simplify this side of my equation by multiplying 1/2 times 6. 1/2 times 6 gives me 3. So this is 3 times h, or 3h. Now I have an equation, and I know how to solve equations like this because I know that when I'm looking for the value of a variable, I need to isolate the variable by looking for the inverse operation. Right now this says 3 times h, so to get 3 away from h, I need to use the inverse of multiplying by 3, which is dividing by 3. And I need to do that on both sides of my equation. When I do 15 divided by 3, I get 5. On this side, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 1h gives me just h. So that means that the height of one triangle is 5 centimeters. Gabby is redecorating her room. She wants to buy new wall decorations that are in the shape of a triangle. If she buys 5 triangular decorations that each have a base of 9 inches and a height of 12 inches, what is the total amount of wall space that the decorations will cover? Well, let's think about the area of just one of those decorations. I'm going to use the formula for a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. I know that each of Gabby's decorations has a base of 9, so this is 1/2 times 9, and then times a height of 12, so times 12. Now I can just multiply 1/2 times 9, which gives me 4.5, and then times 12. So when I do 4.5 times 12, I get 54. So that means that each triangular decoration has an area of 54 inches squared. Now we have to be careful because she is going to buy 5 of these, and we want to know the total amount of space that all of the decorations are going to cover. So if each decoration has an area of 54, then the total area is going to be 54 times 5. When I multiply 54 times 5, I get 270 inches squared.